Hello and welcome to Access Asia here on France 24. I'm Will Hildebrand. Coming up, armed vigilantes dubbed cow protectors in India are raising the stakes in a cultural standoff. The animal, considered sacred for much of the population, while others rely on it for food. China's people problem. For the first time in generations, the world's biggest population shrinks. Though the one-child policy is gone, its effects live on. And a famous acting dog cloned in China. Juice's career has been good, but he's unable to have offspring, and now his owner wants an encore performance and paid $50,000 to create Little Juice. The cow is a sacred animal for Hindus in India, and strict laws on its slaughter and consumption have put it at odds with others in the country who rely on the animal for revenue as livestock and a source of food and milk. Now armed vigilantes dubbed cow protectors are roaming the streets, raising the stakes in the cultural standoff.
They call themselves the Gauraksha, cow protectors. This is one of hundreds of vigilante groups of radical Hindu nationalists all over India who arm themselves and go out to protect what for them is a sacred animal.
Praying and protecting cows is our religion. Hindus are always ready to save cows. We see them as a mother figure.
Hindus have always considered cows sacred, but recently it has become a trigger for violence against India's Muslim community. When Hindu nationalist Narendra Modi came to power in 2014, he made it one of his campaign promises to shut down abattoirs.
All Indians must look after cows. They should be pious and organize ceremonies in their honor. This will enrich our country.
Now the slaughter of cows is banned in most Indian states. And as a result, Muslims who run the country's cattle trading and beef industry are ostracized and threatened. In the north of New Delhi, these warehouses used to host one of the biggest cattle markets in the region. But the new laws have forced thousands of butcheries and abattoirs to close. Militias of cow protectors patrol the roads looking for people transporting cattle. They stopped this lorry, suspecting cows were hidden inside.
Show us your documents. I said show us your documents.
The driver said they were just cows for milking, and the militia let him go on his way. The story doesn't always end so happily. People have been killed by angry mobs for eating beef or slaughtering cows. At least 39 people have died in such attacks since 2014. In April 2017, a vigilante group attacked the father and two sons of this family of cattle breeders. The father died of his wounds.
We're scared after what happened to my father. Now we refuse to breed cows.
There have been at least 240 attacks by cow vigilantes in 2 years, and only a dozen arrests.
Last year, China's population shrank for the first time in 70 years. Despite getting rid of the one-child ban, experts are still warning of a demographic crisis. The population is set to peak at 1.44 billion in 10 years' time, but then it faces a long period of what's being referred to as an unstoppable decline. Sanam Chantier has the details.
It's been over 3 years since China officially ended its decades-long one-child policy, a period of fines, forced abortions and sterilization. Today, the world's most populous nation is facing a rapidly aging population and a shrinking labor force. This, as the easing of the one-child policy has failed to boost China's birth rate.
A child costs a lot of money. My income isn't enough for me to have a second one.
I think one child is quite enough. That's because we're already having to work all day long. Even with one child, there's a lot to manage.
Experts say the East Asian nation's population shrank last year for the first time in 70 years. In fact, according to the China Academy of Social Sciences, it could slip from 1.41 billion to 1.36 by the middle of the century.
Since 2012, the Chinese labor force has been declining by several million each year. This inevitably influences the way the economy and industry function. China is losing its advantage as a labor-intensive industrial country compared to the rest of the world.
This has put intense strain on the country's fragile pension and healthcare systems. Beijing must now draw up policies to try to cope with the crisis. They include providing state help for a second child in low-income families, increasing leave for new parents, and lastly, catering for affordable childcare.
Last month, Dinushika Dissanayake won the prestigious Chirac Prize for Conflict Prevention. The young lawyer has been campaigning for land rights in Sri Lanka. Thousands of families are fighting to get back civilian terrain the government had seized after the long, bloody civil war. Our team on the ground reports.
In Mannar, a district in northwestern Sri Lanka, the scars of a 3-decade-long bloody civil war have still not healed. This is just one of several districts, particularly in the north and the east, where the military continues to occupy swaths of civilian land they had seized during the conflict. Tens of thousands of people were displaced. Philip Callister's Cruz, a once prosperous Tamil farmer, was one of them. He lost his home and land overnight in 2007.
We had to leave everything behind. We just had the clothes on our backs. After that, we had to struggle to survive. We couldn't imagine in our wildest dreams that we would be able to come back to our land.
But he learned to fight for his rights and in 2014 got a portion of his land back.
When we were in the camps, the Law and Society Trust and our local bishop contacted us and educated us on how we could get back our land.
People like Philip have benefited greatly from the work done by Dinushika Dissanayake and her team at the Law and Society Trust. They educate local communities and authorities by simplifying the law for them. They also find pro bono lawyers to help displaced people understand their rights.
We are trying to aware community about the land laws. There are 3 types of land laws. These are the posters which we use when we had a training program in community level.
This is a drop in the ocean of our transitional justice work, of course, but it is a significant piece of work and it's helping people. And if 10,000 families have access to land as a result of this, I think that itself is a testament of the work that we've done.
This is only the beginning, as thousands of acres of civilian land still remain in the hands of the government and the military. As for Philip, he is hoping to leave this temporary home by the end of the year and move back to his village, Mulikulam, after 11 long years.
Well, this next story mixes the grit of a dog's life with the glimmer of the silver screen. A dog that was rescued from the street is a film star in China, earning 6-figure paychecks. But as Juice's dog ages and is unable to have puppies since he was neutered, his owner wants to be sure his legacy and salary carry on. He's paid more than $50,000 to have Juice cloned. Catherine Bennett has a story.
This little dog is getting more than his 15 minutes of fame. Juice is a celebrity in China, where he starred in a number of Chinese films and TV productions. Now his owner and trainer has cloned Juice so that his career doesn't burn out.
Juice has acted in a lot of films and television shows. He has a lot of fans. So he's a piece of intellectual property with social influence. We want to keep his appearance for the future.
Hejin took the dog to Sinogene, China's first biotech company to offer pet cloning services. Scientists isolated Juice's DNA and put it into a fertilized egg, which was carried by a canine surrogate. And so Little Juice, or Gigi in Chinese, came into the world. The puppy stayed with its surrogate mother for about a month before being given to its new owner. Hejin has big dreams for the little dog.
We believe he'll perform even better than Juice.
The Chinese biotech industry is still in its early stages, but is growing rapidly. It's a sector with few regulations and no laws against animal cloning.
First off, the future market for cloning in China is very big, mainly because we've discovered that more and more pet owners want to be with their pets for an even longer period of time. Gene editing technology will take off very quickly for us in the future, but at the moment it's not developing that rapidly.
The process raises ethical questions, for instance over the suffering of surrogate dogs forced into artificial pregnancies. Critics also warn of the danger of encouraging an industry of dog farming.
It was a nice day for an ice wedding in China. 47 couples tied the knot in sub-zero temperatures. This at the Harbin Ice Festival. Everyone who took part was Chinese, except for 37-year-old Fabio from Italy. But love warms a heart, and this was the 35th year that weddings were held at the festival. Of course, it's best known for its lights and ice sculptures, and we'll leave you with some of the images from Harbin. Thanks for watching this time, and please stay tuned to France 24.
Keep up to date on the latest from the Middle East. We bring you political, economic, and cultural events from the region in this weekly Middle Eastern program.
Middle East Matters, presented by Sanam Chantier on France 24 and France24.com.